Hello and welcome to the TMC Newsroom. My name is Rich Tarani. Thanks for watching us. We're coming to you from IT Expo East 2011 in Miami, and our program today is Jeff Bedeker. He's the COO of OneSourceNetworks. Jeff, how are you?
Doing very good. Rich, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for making the trip from Cleveland.
Excellent.
To visit us here in Miami.
Especially with this time of year, it's always nice to come down and see the beautiful weather in Miami.
Yeah, they do. They do have a lot of that, an abundance of beautiful weather, which is nice. So let's talk a little bit about your company and give us an overview.
Well, OneSourceNetworks is a company of highly skilled and highly experienced network professionals. We provide services for Fortune 1000 companies and focusing on design, implementation, and service management for the customers, and then we deliver a carrier-agnostic solution for them, focusing on their needs and the ability to provide a very simple procurement process to enable customers to have access to over 100 carriers that we have relationships with today. The good thing there is they can come to us and we can help them design and look at the requirements that they've got and be able to solve their problems from a non-carrier perspective. So we look at the solution, not pushing products, which we find typically is trying to put a square peg in a round hole for our customers. So for what we're able to do, we're finding a lot of acceptance in the marketplace from our customers. And then on top of that, we're also a facilities-based voice-over IP provider. We're looking at what direction the industry is going and what direction our customers are going, and realize that deploying a next-generation voice-over IP network was the right thing to do, and then layer that on top of the MPLS networks, private line networks, or public IP to be able to enable our customers in the whole area of unified communications. So we're finding a lot of success right now with our knowledge and our experience in being able to help our customers.
So in terms of your customer base, one would imagine that customers who have multiple locations, either nationally or internationally, would be best able to take advantage of what you have to offer?
Yes, our relationships with carriers are not just regional, but they're also global. So we have relationships with carriers throughout Europe and Asia, as well as domestically in the United States. So whether our customer is located in Chicago or they're located over in Singapore, we're able to provide services for them. But what we find mainly on the Fortune 1000 is that they're headquartered domestically in the U.S. We have relationships with those customers, and then they come to us to help solve the more difficult problems globally. And our services that we can provide, we continue to add more carriers to our portfolio that enables us to provide more services to our customers regardless of where they are in the globe.
Now, from the standpoint of your company also providing voice over IP service, how does that work with the other carriers? Is there some sort of synergy that you have with those carriers? Do they see that as competitive?
From a networking standpoint, particularly on an MPLS network, for instance, the other carriers could provide the MPLS network, or we would actually procure that from those other carriers and then provide our voice over IP on top of it. What we're doing is enabling the customer, and we actually are complementing a lot of carriers that today don't even offer a voice over IP solution over MPLS. So what we're able to do is provide the network and the voice over IP, and we don't find an issue with the carriers when we do that. We become a node on the customer's network. So the customer helps us facilitate that, and then we're able to enable voice over IP SIP services, whether it's local, long distance, international toll-free services. We're able to provide all of that over that internet connection or over that MPLS connection to the customer.
Are you seeing much activity in either video or just cloud services in general?
That's a great question, Rich. What we're seeing is a huge growth in that area right now. The whole area of mobility and then being able to tie that to video services. So when you think of cloud, you think of the ability to provide a hosted service. So we're doing hosted voice over IP. We're providing hosted services and providing that same local DID, long distance international services. But we're also able to enable customers to do video services as well. Very SIP-centric at that point, but we're right now exploring ways to be able to add to that with video conferencing from a SIP level to be able to support the H.263 and 264 standards across our network.
Have customers inquired about HD voice at all?
Yes, they have. And that's one of the key areas that we look at, and we're totally SIP enabled. So we don't have a TDM infrastructure for our high-end customers. So they have an ability to run G722 services across our network, and we fully support that where it's a on-net or a phone-to-phone connection that stays onto the data network as IP. Of course, if you go off and you have to go through TDM, you lose that through the gateway services today. But no, we are actually enabled for HD voice right now.
Now, when it comes to mobility and devices and applications, how far into that area does your company play?
We play from the point of we're doing services on the wireless side, so we have wireless partners and we're able to provide services through their networks. But on the enablement side, we find SIP being a key aspect of that. So we now support clients on mobile phones. So we're able to support the iPhone, we're able to support Android clients off of our SIP platform, as well as soft clients on laptops, as well as the desk phone. So if you think about the entire environment of communications, we're able to turn on a customer's phone service, and whether they're at their desk or they're down in Miami Beach, they have the ability to be extended out of their office.
Now, do you also provide telecom expense management services for clients?
We don't directly provide it, but we do provide a capability when we look at all the different carriers. So when we go in and provide a design for a client, we look at multiple carriers, and many times we'll enable the customer by showing them that information and be able to say, here's 7 carriers, and each of these 7 carriers then represents the opportunity to either save or provide a certain level of service. When you do a design for a customer, it may be based on redundancy, it may be based on diversity, or it may be based on pure cost. And we're able to share that with the customer to help them be able to make those types of decisions.
So if you could give us one or two future trends of things that you're seeing other than the video that we talked about a little bit earlier and the cloud, what other things will we see?
On the enterprise space, what we're finding is a lot of customers are very siloed in their systems that they have on their premise. And what we're seeing is a trend to try to bring that together into a single unified client and a unified experience for the customer, and trying to enable mobility in a greater extent. And so what we find is customers moving away from a very CapEx-centric environment and moving to more of a hosted, more of a cloud-based for all their voice services. On the enterprise side, the adoption rate's a little bit slower. Small to medium business, I think they've grasped that sooner, but it's a little bit more of a chore. So our experience and what we're focusing on right now is trying to enable those large enterprise services with our clients.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for being on the program today.
Rich, thank you very much.